Chapter 6 of Jin Ping Mei Part 1. Wang Po's gang is caught in the rain. But Simon King came back from Yu Temple and sat down in Wang Po's tea house. The woman quickly ordered a cup of tea and asked, "Where are the officials coming from? Why don't you go and see the lady?" Simon King said, "I'm going to the temple today. I'm thinking of you during this important festival. Come here, look at Sixth Sister." The mother-in-law said, "His mother Pan is here today. I'm afraid she hasn't left yet. Wait for me to go over and have a look, and then I'll go back to the official." When the mother-in-law walked by the woman's back door to look, the woman was having a drink with Pan's mother in the room. When she saw the mother-in-law coming, she quickly gave up her seat. The woman smiled and said, "My godmother is here just in time. Please accompany my mother and have a meal, and I will raise a good baby tomorrow." The mother-in-law said with a smile, "I don't have a wife. Where can I raise one? You are young and strong. It's a good time to raise them." The woman said, "As the saying goes, little flowers don't bear nuts like old flowers do." The mother-in-law looked at Pan's mother and said, "Look at your daughter. You are hurting me and saying that I am an old woman. You will still use me as an old woman tomorrow." After that, Pan's mother said, "He has been like this since he was a child. Wait until you speak quickly, and your godmother will not have the same experience as him." Grandma Wang said, "This sister of yours is a woman with 100 talents and 100 talents. Tomorrow, I don't know what lucky person will be able to receive it." Pan's mother said, "Since the godmother is the matchmaker, everything depends on the godmother." As he put down the chopsticks, the woman poured wine in front of him. The mother-in-law accompanied her for several glasses of wine, and her face turned red after eating. She was also afraid that Simon King would be waiting there, so she quickly looked away at the woman, said goodbye and went home. The woman knew Simon King was coming, so she encouraged his mother to get up and go. Clean up the room, burn some strange incense, remove the leftovers from the mother's food, and prepare another table for wine and food. Simon King came through the back door, and the woman then went into the room, said a blessing and sat down. It turns out that since the death of Wu Da, how could the woman be willing to bear filial piety? Throw the Wu Daling tablet aside, cover it with a piece of white paper, and don't pick up the rice. Every day I just put on heavy makeup, wear colorful clothes, and look cute. Seeing that Simon King didn't come for 2 days, he scolded him, "How could you, a heartless thief, leave your slave and go to another house to marry someone you love? He left your slave in the cold and didn't come to pick him up." Simon King said, "I have something to do in the past 2 days. I went to the temple today to buy you some jewelry, pearls and clothes." The woman was filled with joy. Simon King called the young boy Diane to come over, took out the felt bag and gave it to the woman one by one. The woman just thanked her and accepted it. The little daughter Yinger was usually afraid of being beaten by women, so she kept it secret from him and asked him to bring tea to Simon King. On the other hand, the woman set the table and had tea with Simon King. Simon King said, "If you don't want to spend money, I have already used the money to buy things with my godmother. I was just about to sit down with you during the festival." The woman said, "This is for my mother. I will keep this table full of vegetables. When my godmother buys it, and there is a delay, we will eat it." The woman and Simon King were drinking together, with their faces touching and their legs pressed together. Let's say that the mother-in-law walked to the street with a basket to buy wine and meat. It was early May and it was raining heavily. I saw that the red sun was suddenly covered by black clouds, and it rained heavily. But see, dark clouds spread across the fields, and black mist locked the sky. The sun is flying across the sky, and the plantains are shattered with a click. With the help of the strong wind, the old cypress trees that invaded the sky were overturned. With the thunderbolts, the Taihua Sangkia was shaken, washing away the heat and moisturizing the field seedlings. This is exactly what it means. The Jianghuai River adds new water. The green bamboo and red pomegranate wash away the clear water. The woman was buying a bottle of wine and a basket of vegetables, fruits, etc. when she encountered the heavy rain on the street. She hurriedly hid under the eaves of someone else's house, wrapped her head in a handkerchief, and her clothes got soaked. After waiting for a while, the rain's feet slowed down a little, and the clouds flew home in big steps. After entering the door, he put the wine and meat under the kitchen. He walked into the room and saw the woman drinking with Simon King. He smiled and said, "The high official and the old lady like to drink. Look, the clothes on the old woman's body are all wet. Tomorrow I will teach the officials to compensate me." Simon King said, "Look at this old woman. She is just a deadbeat." The mother-in-law said, "It's not like I'm a liar. A high-ranking official can't afford to pay me a piece of king." The woman said, "Godmother, please drink a cup of hot wine." The woman drank 3 cups with him and said, "I'm going to the kitchen to dry my clothes." While walking to the kitchen, the clothes were dried. The chicken, goose and rice were cut and arranged. Fruits and other fruits were put on plates and placed in the room, and wine was served. Simon King and the woman poured out the wine, exchanged glasses and drank. While Simon King was drinking, he saw a pipa hanging on the wall of the woman, and said, "I've heard for a long time that you are good at playing. If you want to play a piece of music today, I'll drink with you." The woman smiled and said, "I have learned a few sentences since I was a child, but I am not very good at it. But you should not laugh at me." Simon King took off the pipa, held the woman in his arms, watched him put it on his lap, gently stretched the jade bamboo shoots, played with the ice string, played it slowly, and sang in a low voice, "Guaner is not lazy in dressing up. Her hair is tied up in a bun with green silk on her temples, and her gold hairpin is stuck diagonally on the dark clouds," calling for the fragrance of plum blossoms, opening the cage and box, wearing a set of plain silk clothes. She looked like she. "When we leave the embroidery room, plum blossoms are fragrant. You and I can roll up the curtain and burn a stick of night incense." After Simon King heard this, he was so happy that he put his arms round the woman's pink neck, kissed her on the lips, and praised, "Who knew that my sister is so smart? She is just a villain in the 3 streets and 2 lanes of Gulen. None of those who sing together are as good as your hands." The woman laughed and said, "I am honored by the officials. I will be obedient to you today, and I will never forget my family in the future." Simon King held his cheeks in his hands and said, "How could I forget my sister?" The 2 criminal leaders Yu Yun were teasing and playing. After a while, Simon King took off one of his embroidered shoes, held it in his hand, put a small glass of wine in it, and played with the shoe and cup. The woman said, "I have such little feet. Don't make fun of me." After a while, the 2 of them were drunk, closed the door, and dressed and went to bed to play. Wang Po held the door open and sat on the floor with Yinger in the kitchen. The 2 of them were in love with each other in the room, like water and fish. That woman's pillow is more charming than a prostitute, flattering her in every possible way. Simon King also impressed with his marksmanship. The 2 girls are beautiful and talented, both in their prime years. In the quiet orchid room, the pillow is cool. How beautiful and talented the person is. Just now the red candle was poured on the pillow, but suddenly fire was stolen from the wall. White butterflies explore the fragrant flower calyx and tremble, and dragonflies play in the water. The love is strong and the joy is still lingering. Cherish Tan Lang and don't forget each other. That day, Simon King stayed at the woman's house until late at night. He wanted to go home, so he left a few taels of silver to pay for the expenses with the woman. The woman couldn't hold him back again and again. Simon King put on a blindfold and went out. The woman lowered the curtain, closed the door, and drank wine with Mrs. Wang again before leaving. Exactly, leaning on the door to see Liu Lang off. The smoke, water and peach blossoms are lost in the road.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.